What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I have an oddball of a video to do. I was kind of trying to figure out how I wanted to do this, because some of you may have noticed that here lately, within the last, I don't know, few dozen videos, that I have stayed completely away from the ultra budget category. I've showed a couple of, the Rat and the Cut Jack were on there, but if you go way back in my channel, you'll notice that I did a lot of just obscure budget knives, some cheaper Kershaws, stuff like that, and I had a lot of negative things to say about some real junkers. And the truth is I don't really enjoy doing negative reviews, because I love pocket knives, but what I really love about folding knives is the good ones, the ones that are made really well. That's the stuff that I like to show on the channel. I don't generally enjoy talking about what I don't like. A great and a lot of people really don't like to see a negative review anyway. So kind of what I've done is if I get my hands on a knife that I don't like, I just don't review it anymore. I just don't enjoy doing it. And if you go back and you look at that Smith & Wesson, that ultra tactical black looking thing, I just hated that knife, and I still do. I stand by my review on that. But I really made some people upset, and I started to think, well, why would I bring this thing down? I don't like it. I don't necessarily have to talk about it. This is my channel. Maybe I can just do the knives that I like. So that's kind of what I started doing. So I've stayed away from the budget category because it is saturated with garbage. And by ultra budget, I mean, under 20 bucks. I have just completely stayed away from that. It is very rare to find a knife that I think is really good under $20. Now, those of you who, again, are familiar with my channel know that I gave an Ozark trail knife a good review once. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold. This is the Ozark trail, I want to say it's just called the green knife. And I love this knife because it functioned well. It was a good, had good ergonomics. It just basically functioned correctly. And it wasn't trying to be anything weird. It wasn't trying to be anything overly tactical. It was a knife. It was a tool. It wasn't made with premium materials. This is FRN. It's not G10. The blade is made out of metal, essentially, just metal. I have no idea what the blade's made out of. It doesn't really matter. You can see here that this has essentially been a junk drawer, box opener. I use this thing just to cut open packages, and it works fine for that. I don't need a hard use knife here. This is a truck knife, something that you throw in the console of your car, your truck, whatever. Throw it in a tool bag. Breaks, who cares? It was $4 or $5. So, because this thing exists, every time I'm in Walmart, for whatever reason, I walk back to that little part of the store that has knives, and I look, and teenage me or early 20-year-old me, which by the way, I'm 31. Teenage me loved that part of Walmart or any store that had the pocket knife section, because you go back there and look, you'd have no sense of what's high quality. You don't even know that most of the stuff back there, if not all of it, is made in China, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm coming around from that. Still love my USA made stuff. Always going to be USA made primarily. But you go back there and you look, and you're just attracted visually to things that attract you as an individual. And a lot of times it's the black tactical stuff. Whatever. But I still go back there and look because I think maybe eventually there'll be another thing like this green knife that I like. And most of the time, no. I take a look and I say, oh, there's the Spyderco Tenacious. That's a good one. Everything else in there, I'm not really, they've got the Leak. I want to say they've got a $110. Walmart's got some classic budget stuff that's good, but it's kind of, it's everybody knows that it's good, and then they have a whole bunch of just nonsense. And the Ozark Trails section is always fun to look at because, for those of you familiar with it, it's $4 to $5 knives. And they're kind of silly looking. They look just like, junk. And I went back there a little before Christmas, and I saw this knife, and it said Ozark Trails, or Trail, I'm not sure exactly what it says, black flipper knife. Okay, it's black, it has a flipper, and something compelled me. I thought, you know what, it looks just plain enough. Okay, I'll pull the trigger on that. So what? You know, if it ends up being garbage, then I will, it'll just be a junk knife, you know, whatever. So the last two flip knives that I bought I bought one flip knife from Ozark Trail that I don't think was reviewed on this channel. I ended up giving it away, but I was just curious to see if it would flip, and it didn't. And that tan flipper knife, at least mine, did not flip. That wasn't mine. That was, I want to say it was Rob's, who donated the first 0562, or lent me the first 0562 that I reviewed on this channel. And it didn't flip either. I understand some people's tan flippers do, but it didn't flip. And even the ones that do flip, they're not really, the detent is not really set up correctly to flip. I know, we're 6 minutes in. Everybody wants to see this. So, to my surprise, I open this thing up, and I go to flip it, and it flips. This is a $5 knife with a tuned detent for a flipper. And, you know, it's a complete surprise to me that anything could exist like this in this price range. And maybe there are other knives that are out there, and I've had my nose in the air for so long that I just haven't bothered to look. But this was absolutely shocking to me. And on top of that, this appears to be actual G10. And I mean, I don't know if it's going to pick it up on camera, but G10 is fibrous. So, you know, from my perspective, I can see the weaves in there. Now, I imagine this is they must have had a bunch just lying around, because all these scratches and things, they came in it, brand new. I don't care. It was $4.75 or $5. I don't really care. The point is, I think it's actual G10. You have an open body construction, liner lock. The blade came pretty center, and it flips. I'm going to just apply as little pressure as I possibly can to demonstrate what type of action this is. It flips. As slow as I can do it, it flips perfectly. And the detent actually feels really, really good. Let me demonstrate here. The detent's great. There's no blade play. Up, down, left, or right. It's a recurve sort of drop point blade. I mean, I could have done without the recurve. But, I mean, you have a very basic setup here. You know, you have a sort of a design that has worked for a long time. They're not doing anything new with the design here. It works. You have it's not a, I mean, you can kind of force it into your hand like this, but to do a size comparison here, we'll do the Mannix. Compared to the Mannix 2, here's what we're looking at. So it's not a big knife. It's going to be under 7 inches overall. Probably weighs, feels like 3 ounces. So, I mean, it's a junker EDC, but oh my gosh, I mean, they got the detent correct. I mean, if this is available, I mean, I urge you, go down to your local Walmart, see if you can find this exact knife, buy it, and try it for yourself. It works. I'm blown away by that. Ozark Trails, the reason I'm doing this is because it seems like they're going in the right direction. They need to offer a tip up carry position, and multi-directional, so that more people can carry these. But they've got the G10, the pillar construction thing correct. The blade shape's kind of there. I would have preferred there not to be a recurve here, but some people like that. And up here on the spine, I'm sorry, the lighting's not really good here. Up there on the spine, there's no jimping, but I would have preferred there to be jimping. Other than that, I mean, those are little tiny nitpicks, and they don't really even make sense on a $5 knife. You know, that's besides the point. The point of this video is a company making knives that are just meant to be just kind of, you know, use them and abuse them and throw them away if they break. got the detent correct on this thing. If I could show you, let me see if the angle is weird here. Let me try and flip this straight up with like my thumb or something. Like the most awkward way to flip this. That didn't work, but I'm catching this finger. I'm going to cut myself here. But this is not an assisted knife. My point is that this detent, no matter what position I flip it in, it wants to flip. That was straight up. Sorry for the poor demonstration there. But it wants to flip. That's amazing. So here's my question. Why do we still have companies? And let me point this out. I'm not a knife maker. I'm not a knife designer. I couldn't do it. I'm not a metallurgist. I'm not, when it comes to the design and the function and exactly how the detent works and how to tune it and make it correctly and fit or get the tolerances exactly right to get it to work. I have no idea. I couldn't do that. No way. But as just as somebody who's handled a lot of really, really good flippers and really, really good detent setups on knives and have, a person who's also handled bad ones, I kind of had an idea of what to expect by price range. And up until this point, I didn't expect this from this price range. The problem is that I was still seeing it in the, especially like the $50 to $100 price range. Unfortunately, the $100 to $150 price range. And honestly, up until very recently, it was not really super crazy to see it, in the multiple hundreds of dollars range in knives. And as a gigantic Hinderer fan, I'll be the first to admit, yeah, some of the Gen 4s didn't have the greatest flipping action, and they were $425. Now, he has fixed that, but there are definitely still companies out there who are not getting these detents correct, and they're charging hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this stuff. So, and I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to bring down any specific models or manufacturers or custom makers or anything like that. But it seems like the age of the bad detent, on flippers at least, should be over. At first it was like, oh, amazing, and then it immediately was frustrating to me because this knife represents this sort of, what should be obvious. Like, if they can do it, why can't, these other companies do it? Now, I have purchased flippers that I was so excited about until I felt the action, the detent. And it's usually a weak detent that just, a lot of you spend hundreds of dollars on something and you get it and the detent's weak and it misfires and you're like, and so you have to consciously think about it every time you flip to get it exactly right for that knife. And my idea of a great flipper is one that just flips when you go to do it. Especially the unassisted ones, obviously. It should just flip every single time, no matter what. And that is what we have here. We have a $5 reliable flipper. Left-handed with this finger, which is very weak and does not flip ever. You can see there, I actually missed the thing. But I'm right-handed. I'm using this finger on my left hand on a $5 knife, and it's flipping. So, it's amazing to me. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm getting really preachy. Maybe this sounds like a crazy video, but it's just I had to point this out. I think this is a knife that people should go and take a look at anyway, because I think it's made really, or it's designed really well for the price. It's junk material other than the G10. If it is actually G10, that's great. But everything else is just, pretty junky. But you've got pivot screw, nice large Torx head, easy to make adjustments. 2 body screws, Torx head, 2 little standoffs, got a lanyard hole, and you've got the same hardware on the other side, and you've got a weird pocket clip. The pocket clip sucks, but who cares for $5? Honestly, who cares? I mean, they got so much right here. It's kind of silly to complain. This is a great knife for $5. And I've got, if you're new to this channel, go look. I've got, one of the knives on this channel is a $2,500 knife. I've got a lot of stuff on this channel that's in the hundreds of dollars range, closer to $1,000 range. And so I'm not specifically biased towards really expensive knives, though I generally do enjoy them. I really, really love finding little, amazing knives that are inexpensive, because I do truthfully believe that everybody should carry a pocket knife, and not as much as I love American-made knives, not everybody can afford an American-made knife. So, you know, if there's a great knife out there that I can truthfully recommend that is really, really cheap, then I'm going to do that. And I enjoy finding those. And this, at $5, I can recommend this. But it represents a frustration for me. So, I don't know. That's what I'm doing here with this video. So, anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if I got a little bit preachy there. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, you know, I've got lots, like I said, lots of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check that stuff out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there's definitely more coming. Thanks for watching and have a great day.